In the center of Miami, among the false promises of fake marinas, you of course have the Hard Rock Stadium, and around it, of course, the Miami Autodrome. Today, we go racing at a new venue for the Beer League as we swing back down to the Sunshine State, but this time not headed to the 1.5-mile oval of Homestead Miami Speedway. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rempel, alongside Chris Hannigan. We're bringing you all of racing action from start to finish here this afternoon. From race number 8, here this afternoon from the Miami Autodrome. This time, not at the Grand Prix layout, though, running the extended marina layout. Chris, it's a brand new track to the Beer League, something that at this point, with how many different tracks these guys have raced at, not something they think opposed to all too often. Should be an interesting show to see what we're in for this afternoon.
Yeah, good evening, Nolan. Good evening, race fans. This Wednesday, Beer League is back. It's season 14, and we're still getting new tracks out here. Fantastic. Great new track for iRacing. Obviously, it's the Formula One Miami track, running around the Dolphin Stadium down there. I think it's Hard Rock Stadium. So, yeah, looking forward to kind of a unique layout for it as well. I mean, they're running the shorter layout that kind of takes the Formula E back straight away, cuts out some of the back longer sections. But I'm excited. I'm here for it. Beer League, new track. I am ready to go.
Start off, we go racing at a new track, much less a new street circuit. Going to definitely be a sight to behold here this afternoon as well. Here this afternoon, it is Ethan Hamlin right now standing atop the points boards with Giovanni Romano hot on his heels with number 2. Both of those drivers with no beers consumed on the season. Hamlin and Romano both with a couple wins apiece, look to see if they can lock themselves away. But Henry Morse hot on the heels of the Canadian, the number 2.
Yeah, Eric Ronenberg up there holding up P4. Had a good bump ups in the last race. No wins on the season yet, but he's the first driver up there ready to start clipping up the heels of everybody else. Scott Fleming, Austin Tucker round out the top 5. Into the team standings, Flying Donut, just a very small lead over Snack Attack. Both these guys having a great run into the season. Fox Miller 5 and Alien Workshop round on the top 4. Serial Team 6 and 5th. Fast and the Fashionable down in 6. Galaxy Team Galaxy Brain holding up the rear with 88 beers consumed. But look at that. Alien Workshop, 142 beers off 7 races so far, Nolan.
7, it is quite the sight to behold, right? I mean, Flying Donut Motorsports has been a big one this afternoon. Snack Attack, of course, showing the pace they've got here this afternoon. Speaking of the pace, the combined pace, about 3 1/4 kegs, just shy of it through the first 7 races of the season. What do you think, Chris? Think these guys are hitting a full 4 by the time they get to the season finale?
They're hitting something. I don't know if it's full form or not. But, yeah, at this point, a lot of these guys have run a Beer League for, multiple seasons. I don't encourage drinking and driving, but in Beer League, it is it's something that I think you get better at as you drive more.
Well, all of that while drivers are currently out and about putting down qualifying laps here this afternoon. Let's ride on board with number 2 qualifier Kyle Blevins. He'll take you for a lap here around the Miami Autodrome, specifically on the initial shorter layout of this racetrack. Past the Hard Rock Stadium on the right-hand side of the racetrack, you're going to dive down towards turn number 1. A tight right-hander over 90 degrees, good for pass opportunities in these MX5s. A quick flick back to the left, though, will offer the chance for a couple of crossovers. Got to watch for the off-track 1X on the inside. A fast-flowing sweeper that opens up to the right-hand side. We pass by would be the MIA layout and make our way towards that S at the back end of the facility. Turns 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. A 5-turn complex. There's 4. Hit the apex nice at 5. And then cut it back in for turn number 6. And then this turns into a long triple apex left-hander. There's number 7. And then cut it in for turn number 8. Down what would normally be one of the 2 DRS zones at this racetrack for the Formula One layout. But we are not going all the way down to that infamous chicane. Instead, they're going to work their way through turn number 9, past the DRS activation boards, which will not be in play here this afternoon. And instead, it is hard on the brakes right at about 75 meters before the braking zone. A touch of the wall, though, into turn number 10 as we swing it out wide. That'll be an abandoned lap for Kyle Blevins. We'll hop over to Alex King over the curbs at turn 12 and almost into the right side wall. A bit of a shortcut here. A quick left-right, right-left flick through turn 13 and 14 into 15, almost 90 degrees, but it does open up right in the middle of that second back straightaway. He is also going to go around off the anti-cut curves, and that will take us back to Kyle Blevins, who is going to plow right into the door. But I tell you what, that turn 17 at the top end of the racetrack, just past these guys, going to be the best brake zone of this racetrack here, Chris.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying not to laugh out loud because it's so much fun. Beer League is so much fun, these guys play. Yeah, there's so many, going into turn 10, even maybe turn 15, that little back straightaway, and then going into this is turn 17 on the back end of the long back straightaway. Few great passing opportunities, but the greatest thing about these MX5s is you can really push them and pass in a lot of places that aren't traditional passing zones. I would even say through the S's here, especially through that long, winding turn 6, 7, 8 complex, that long left-hander around the fake marina down there. That's going to be a good spot for overtaking as well, as these cars push out all the way to the right side of the racetrack to make the double apex. You'll see a few guys sneak the nose on the inside and try to get an easy position there.
So for the most part, it looks like the qualifying order can be relatively set. One driver did qualify on wet tires, that driver being Matthew Dupuis. He is right now sitting in the number 10 spot, but obviously the wet tires not going to be doing him too many favors right now. There is some rain in the air. Now, not right now, mind you, as okay, we're going to have a party down there at the exit of turn 17, but there is some rain anticipated in about an hour's time in sim. It was going to come in around 12:30, 12:45 with some 90% rain coverage. Right now, it's 11:49, so that rain's not going to be far away. We'll be hitting it before the end of this race.
Yeah, so that means you go to change tires. The MX5s have slick tires and wet tires, so depending on conditions at the start of the race, Beer League does put a little bit of interval between the sessions here, so we'll see what time we snap to when the race actually starts. But it will be a tire change. I mean, if the rain falls, especially a new track like this as well, these drivers are all learning this track. They got to learn how to drive it in the rain to boot on top of it. It's going to make for an exciting event.
38 cars have got themselves lined on up on the grid, and it is time to see who is going to be taking a rundown and who will be starting where for the 15-minute sprint race this time by. Starting on pole position for the 15-minute sprint, it is going to be Eric Ronenberg. He is alongside Kyle Blevins this afternoon. Row 2 on the grid, Alexander Bueller alongside Scott Fleming, with row 3 holding Jake Kasich and Alex King. Row 4, bring it up for Chris Flams, bring it up for Ron Wolf, making his 100th start here this afternoon, with Ringo Harrison and Matthew Dupuis on row 10. Top 12 headed up by Tom Adola and Darren Bai. And back to the field from there, it's going to be Evan Campbell, Aaron Thacker, Jordan Babcock, Jason Lee, Justin Hall, Tyler Carlton, Brooks Clayton, Kyle Smith, Sebastian Close, John Combs, Ben Williams, McKenna Dean, joining his brother David this afternoon, Jeremy Castro, Carson Catlin, Ryan Murphy, Blake Gamble, Ethan Condi, the aforementioned David Dean, Greg Beckman, Sean Nellen, Henry Morris, Giovanni Romano, Henry Lieberman, Tyler Augustino, Stephen Purcell, and Chris Bright. So we are gearing up to go racing here this afternoon. Now, a couple of new names to keep eyes on for. We kind of highlighted David Dean 1 week ago here at the Virginia National Race. Of course, he didn't have any confidence available for that race here. Now, David Dean, not a driver that does a lot of racing. He does race mini stocks at the Agassiz Speedway in the real world. His brother, McKenna Dean, races Lord Coata Park street stock at that same racetrack. And McKenna Dean, however, unlike David, much more well-versed in road course racing. Used to be a contender with Screechers Motorsports in the VSCA Sports Car Championship. He's been around the block. If there's ever a driver to keep an eye out for, I've been looking out for the 05 to make a statement here this afternoon, try to finish in the top 20.
How about that? Some new drivers to watch. A little story behind it. I like it. Good to see new drivers on the grid. Looking forward to watching the Deans try to work through this grid here today. And, of course, you got the regulars here as well that have been driving for a long time at Beer League. I think it's really up for anybody at this point.
Just waiting on the last few drives to grid on up, and then we're going to get this show on the road. Only a handful of grid spots to go, and with that, the Revs are going to build. Long hold on the line. Sprint racing action finally underway. Thought for sure we might get a jump start off the line, but everyone gets away well. Into turn number 1, Ronenberg already cleared by over a quarter of a second. Here comes the hornet's nest of everyone trying to funnel through behind. Looking for 3x3 wide all the way through. David E trying to make it 4 almost into turn number 1, but everyone gets through turn 1 clean on lap number 1.
Yeah, pretty impressive sight there. Most of the good thing about this track, it is fairly wide for a street track, up the current Formula One standard. So nice, smooth, pretty wide. Everyone making it through very clean. Head down into the S's, turns 4, 5, and 6, and then around that long left-hand corner we were talking about. Ronenberg's got a great jump here. Not able to pull out much of a gap, but he's getting far enough ahead where he's comfortably in the lead heading in through his long left-hander.
And a slip up for Ronenberg. Kyle Blevins able to slip around him as Ronenberg looking like just ran wide on the exit of, I believe that would have been about turn 8. Now on that long stretch towards turn 9, though, Alexander Bueller gets from Ronenberg as well. They got to try to see if they can't rally back. Maybe get some bump traffic going to try to push up to the tail end of Kyle Blevins up the road. Second, third, and fourth under a blanket. And again, Ronenberg finds him under attack, this time from Jake Kasich into turn 10.
Yeah, I wonder if we, Ronenberg maybe got a little wide there through 6, 7, 8, like we were talking about, and kind of Blevins just sitting on the inside. I love seeing the cars, by the way, use all the track here, running over the white line, getting out near the wall. It doesn't look like that's much of a slowdown out there. So this is another section here. You see a few cars run wide. Of course, I haven't driven this track. I'm not sure where the slowdowns are, but there may be one outside of there to keep an eye on. But, yeah, look at Blevins pulling away, almost a full second over Bueller now. I mean, 0.8 of a second, and then you're going to head down to the hairpin, down at turn 17. Looks like everybody's staying in line of stern right now, heading through the corner.
A little bit of a stack up with Ron Wolf in the middle of the field. Again, Ron Wolf making his 100th race start this afternoon. A huge milestone for him. They go 2 by 2 wide, deeper in the field here. For the most part, things are looking sorted. Oh, we got a bit of a mess on the exit of turn 17, though. Look out, as both Deans have to stack up, and McKennedy turned off the nose of last week's winner, Giovanni Romano.
Oh, man, that we're trying to get around. There's somebody driving backwards there, and then a couple cars to the left side trying to get around it. And, yeah, 2 cars in the same spot does not work. Even trying to avoid another accident. It's very unfortunate for both those guys.
Blake Gambo looked like was one of the first drivers to go around. Take a look at this mess at the end of lap number 1. Thought we may have gotten through clean. Not so. And it was actually up the road. It was Kyle Smith's 549 that triggered that. It watches both David and McKennedy run in deep, and McKennedy cut left. But Romano was already there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We trying to avoid the accident. Romano's there, but it looks like somebody. I missed who you said it was there, Nolan, but somebody got on the gas and just spun it coming out of the corner and just looped it. But that's what happens. Everybody stacks up in the same spot. Meanwhile, back up front, look at the battle for the lead. Ronenberg's there. He's going to make a move up the inside of Blevins into turn number 10 along this back straightaway. I think he's going to have him cleared by the time he gets there. He sure is. Ronenberg back to point.
Sure will. So just like that, Ronenberg up to the front. Kyle Blevins tucking into the rear just a little ways behind, trying to see if he can't mount that charge. Back to the front. 11.5 minutes on the clock. An anticipated only 8-lap race for the sprint this afternoon. It may be the shorter layout of this racetrack, right? But we're cutting out darn near half the racetrack, as a matter of fact, Chris. But these lap times of these MX5s still over 2 minutes.
That's still a long track for these guys. And I mean, a lot of it's honestly full throttle as well, going down these long straightaways. That's why the slipstream is going to be such big. And that's why Ronenberg's not going to be able to pull away here. Even though Blevins had such a huge gap on turn 1, see a few cars slapping the wall there coming out of the last hairpin. You can't pull away. The slipstream is so strong in these cars and these long straightaways, you're going to be pulling the guy around behind you forever. And that's just going to be the way. You'll be trading positions all day.
Jason Lee looking like he had a slowdown penalty as he is fading towards the rear end, giving up a boatload of spots. So tough break for him from the looks of things. Meanwhile, fastest lap of the race so far, going to go to that of Henry Morse. So Morse at the tail end of the field, wanted to improve as he chases the points lead exiting today. Eric Ronenberg up front. Want to see if he can't mount the charge. And right behind, Alexander Bueller, Alex King, Scott Fleming, and Jake Kasich. All scrambling into turn number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And around the inside goes Scott Fleming. He's going to look to take that spot away from the number 11 up front. King and Bueller still double file for the number 3 spot. Had they not been side by side, they could have maybe had an effort to go after the top 2 for the lead. Oh, trouble.
Yeah, big wreck behind. Straightaway. Remember, there's walls here. There's no runoff.
That's Jordan Babcock. Punched in. And he looks like he has had a heck of a ride, but for the most part, it looks like he's been able to kind of get through that unscathed, more or less.
Unfortunately for him, though, he's facing the wrong direction. He needs to turn around. And Ronenberg, though, something happened here. I think he may have gotten a slowdown maybe blew the chicane there through 10, 11, 12. He lost a ton of time. Now he's back in the thrones of, or back in the grips of Bueller. He still looks like he's slowing down. Let's see. This is the replay of the incident. Coming out of the long left-hander, caught the tire wall. They get slapped around a few times, and then from there, you're just waiting.
Yeah, that Tech Pro, man, it'll catch you and fling you right around if you're not careful. Of course, a relatively newer crash technology, been in place since the 2010s in several racetracks, and whether or not it's better than tire walls, I'm sure there's arguments for both. I'm sure they both have their place, but boy, it did its job there on getting that car stopped in a hurry. From behind, Wolf, Thacker by 10th, 11th, and 12th. This is the battle to see who starts on pole, and it's whoever's at the rear of it.
Does that mean you're officially old now, Nolan, if you're calling something that's 16 years old still relatively new? Does that mean we've reached a point where we're that old?
Yeah. It's a decade ago, man.
It's old to me too, man. It's new to me still too. It's still new to me as well. I think we're both getting to that point. But yeah, still lots of good racing on track here. The tire wall thing is still fun, but they just, unless they wrap them in those long, fabrics or whatever, they keep them from flying all over the racetrack. Yeah, the Tech Pro seems to be a way to go these days. I like the drifted through that corner. A few of these guys have been really sliding the rear of the car out through 6, 7, 8 right there. It's been really cool to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've been kicking the tail end out everywhere they go. I mean, you should have seen what they were like at the Virginia International Raceway 1 week ago. Unfortunately, we didn't have any commentary for that race. All of our crew was either sick or otherwise occupied. But, boy, they had a slugfest there. I mean, everybody was sliding out. Everyone was slapping the barriers. And then we had 3 different cars flip upside down. 2 of them with the same lap 1 crash. I mean, it was a doozy.
Man, I tell you what, they're slapping the walls here a lot, too. They're using, oh, no, trouble. Somebody's going the wrong direction again.
That's Clayton.
What part of the track is this? Where is this even at? This is the chicane. This is 10 to 11, 12.
Brooks Clayton and Ben Williams having a tickle. And
let's see.
Too much curb, I reckon. No, some help.
Yeah.
Too much door.
Sure did. Yeah, that'll happen. It was interesting watching this too. Watch these guys drive, and they're really attacking this racetrack. I mean, they're using all the curbs. I mean, they're putting the outside of their car on the inside of the curb. And I don't know the slowdowns on this track, so it seems like they found a few spots on this track. Look at this battle to turn 1, by the way, getting spicy. But yeah, they're using all the road, and some of these curbs are a little more forgiving than other ones, but especially in that chicane, I've seen a few guys just go all 4 wheels off the track. Looks like it, but it looks like it allows it. So if it does, use it, man.
The battle packs going to keep their momentum moving forward. Jake Kasich and Scott Fleming still hot on the heels of their competitors as well. Only 4 laps to go anticipated in this race. Kyle Blevins has walked out a 3-second lead. Bueller and King going to get tangled up, and they nearly go around. Let Rondenberg through to the number 2 spot, and just like that, Jake Kasich picks up 3rd, but at this point, no one is going to be running down that 39, bar a major incident.
No, he's checked out, but this gaggle of cars right here is checking in for a battle. They are all over each other right now. And you saw that was 6, 7, 8. Those corners were really sliding the car around. And yeah, the cars were full drift, a little bit of contact, and it completely upsets the angle of the car and the turning trajectory of the car as somebody there got launched over the curb. Still can't pick up the numbers too well, but yeah, I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. I think that may have been Flams that got jumped over the curb right there, but they're working it out still, getting single file, and get back in that tow. Ronenberg back in the front of the pack again. Unfortunately, just like you said earlier, I mean, Blevins is checked out. I don't see a world where Ronenberg catches him unless Blevins makes a mistake, but these guys are going to battle all the way to the end here.
Alexander Bueller, with all of that lack of slipstream, dropping all the way towards the rear end of the field here. Tough break for him. I know that was not the outing that he was hoping to have in his race. Overall, quite a stellar drive that we are having so far here this afternoon. Tyler Carlton, having gone around to the tail of the field, looking like he's just been given a little bit of a tip. But otherwise, the field remains very much in lockstep, and not a lot of time to go in this race already. Only 3 laps back.
So we're starting to identify where the trouble spots are on the track, Nolan. We've seen it going down in the turn 10, the back straightaway. That's going to be a tough spot, but we've seen a lot of incidents through that chicane, especially slapping off the wall in 12. We've seen a lot of incidents heading down to the hairpin on the other back straightaway, turn 17. So really the end of the two straightaways seems to be where all the action is, at least all the trouble so far that we've seen. But through the rest of the track here, a lot of these guys just kind of running single file, taking their time, running around. I think in the race, in the main race, you're going to see this corner right here is going to be a good passing opportunity. People diving under the inside.
Oh,
you see back there further back.
That's one of the front runners. We got more. Dupuis.
Yeah, they were side by side going through the corner there before the camera switched over. So, yeah, it gets tight through there. So I take it back. You're adding turn 8 to the trouble list of this racetrack tonight.
And Chris Flams.
Ooh.
Got tagged by King, and then there's Dupuis. He got some help from Combs, and that front end is going to come around, glances off the Tech Pro, but does not fully go into it.
Yeah, everybody's got full angle in the car, full slip angle in the car. It's just like NASCAR. If you're leaning through a tight corner like at Darlington, let's say you're going through turn 4 at Darlington, you're on the throttle, the car is really resting on the rear. If you just go out and push it with your hand, it's going to go around. And with that case right there, two cars got together, and a slight touch sent the one lighter around. And speaking of which, Alex King again and Jason Lee.
The second verse, same as the first, tried to stick it down the inside, and it just didn't pan out, except this time it took out the guy it was fighting with. Oh, no, and look out, up into the air goes Justin Hall, collected with John Combs on the exit of turn 17.
Man, I almost didn't react. I thought we were watching a replay again. That was perfect timing. John Combs just got squirrely coming out of the corner. Literally got run over by Justin Hall trying to collect the car. This is on board with John, or Justin, going through the corner here. You'll see John gets the wiggles here. And just, yeah, got wall glued a little bit, and Hall had nowhere to go. It's unfortunate for both those guys.
Meanwhile, Kasich and Flams, with 2 laps to go, they continue to keep the pressure up in their own little battle here. This is for the 3rd place spot. Final podium in the sprint. Kasich slips up, and that could let Fleming attack, but he couldn't get the over-under. Had to check it up too much himself.
That's a great spot for the bump and run, is what we've noticed. But now Fleming's under attack from Bueller. Bueller's going to flip it up the right side of the racetrack. He's got no slipstream help over there, but now he does as Kasich comes back in front. They're going to go side by side in the 10 here, Nolan. We've seen this work out good and bad recently. Let's see how this one shapes up.
This chicane here is absolutely brutal. You can tell a lot of drivers have been struggling with it all day today. They are going to be able to more or less get things sorted this time through. It will be the last lap this next time by at the line. So for a lot of drivers, time very rapidly running out. Down the inside again for Alex King, and yet again he gets turned.
Yeah, that was another one. I mean, I can't really fault him there. He was there. He just got a little bit of leaning on the other car, or the other car leaning on him. But either way, you were getting results pointing in the wrong direction. Having a rough lap there, Alex King.
A rough race, in fact, for King. 3 wide as a bit of a slowdown looked like for John Combs. Gonna have to let through both Chris Bright and Tyler Augustino. And we start the final trip around the Miami Autodrome.
It looks like John Combs definitely had to back out right there, let both those guys through, trying to save a slowdown here. But now he's going to be right in a great position to try to tackle him on the last lap. Another car around. That's going to be
Lee.
Jason Lee back there? Yeah.
And he's going to have to go into the runoff in order to try to correct that. But the final trip from Miami.
Augustino, Chris Bright here running side by side in the turn 1. Augustino's going to look up the inside. Bright's going to hold the outside. They're going to be side by side going out through turns 2, 3, and 4. Looks like Bright's going to stick it in there and hold it while Augustino falls in behind. John Combs ready to jump on both these guys here if they can start battling again. But right now they're staying single file, so they're going to remain this order for at least a few more corners. But up the road, Kasich's in. Is that Kasich and Flam side by side?
Sure is.
Oh.
Not Flams. Scott Fleming here side by side, leaning on the door again. Fleming into the door of Kasich once, twice, 3, and now into turn 10. Kasich might have cut the curb there, and he might have a slowdown, but he's chasing the 37 still.
He's got the run to go with it. He's going to keep pushing. But look, I mean, Mueller's there as well. Not much of a braking zone here in the turn 15. But there will be a tremendous braking zone down here at the end of this straightaway. It's where it's got to get done. He's going to put the block on Bueller behind, but he's going to stay in the slipstream of Fleming ahead. So Bueller's going to try to pick it out 3 wide. He's going to dive up the inside of both of them into 17, Nolan.
3 wide into the final hairpin. Scott Fleming looks like he's going to pull this one out, but Bueller trying to get the crossover. Bueller's going to go spinning out of the final hairpin. Kyle Blevins wins from Miami. Eric Runner picks up second, and the drag race to the stripe for third. Going to pull it out for the likes of Scott Fleming, holding on by a 10th for one of the final podium spots in that one. And Bueller has retired his car to pit road.
Yeah, he looked like he was trying to do the old over-under on those guys, had a good run for it, but I think it was maybe Ringo Harrison was doing the same thing and ran the back of him and turned him. And I think Ringo stopped there at the end, but lost a few positions, but he's still got the transfer in 11th. Castro looks like he got the final transfer in 12th. He's going to be starting on pole. The rest of these guys are going to come across. But, yeah, that was a very interesting incident there at the last lap in the last corner for both Bueller and, I believe, Harrison.
Coming down into the wire this time by, and yet again you see drivers put their machines into the wall, and that is going to do it then. A rapid-fire sprint race this afternoon. There is the party as McCanadine ends up on top of the barriers. I feel like that's almost a badge of honor for your first race in the beer league. You ended up on top of a wall somewhere. It seems to be almost tradition. But all of that said and done, our first race of 2 is done tonight. That was only 15 minutes of racing action and only a taste of what is coming on up. 1 hour of racing action from Miami coming up in a few more moments. Kyle Blevins takes over the sprint race win. He'll start 12th in the main event here this afternoon, with the likes of Ronenberg in second, Fleming in third. We'll be right back with more on Greenfly TV. Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we are moments away from returning to racing action here just outside of the Hard Rock Stadium. My name is Rempel alongside Chris Hannigan. You're watching the beer league with their 8th race and the first one ever at the Miami International Autodrome. I'll tell you what, Chris, that sprint race was something. A lot of beating and banging. As we've seen, these guys don't get their ducks in a row. The leader could easily run away with this race.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it's going to be a balance between trying to find out, can you run away, or do you have to really, can you escape the slipstream? That's really what it's going to come down to. And we saw Kyle get away with it because we had a few slowdowns, had some beating and banging behind him. I don't think it's going to be sustainable for the duration of the race. I think if the second pack can kind of, get in line and just run, and they can run down the leader pretty fast. But the thing about this race, Nolan, we're expecting rain. Like this whole thing is wide open at any point. When do you pit? When do you put the rain tires on? How late do you try to stay out? Do you gamble with it? And yeah, it's kind of we've seen it's a tricky track. It's long straightaways, tight corners. We've seen lots of incidents, especially going into and coming out of the corners because they're so slow with wheel spin and things like that. Yeah, we'll see if the leader can get away, but I think it's going to be a lot of beating and banging tonight, confirmed.
All of that as racing action is set to kick off here once again at Miami, and we are ready to do it all over again. This time, extended the distance by an hour, and just like that, right on cue, Chris, here comes the rain. Started up pole position, it's Jeremy Castro alongside Ringo Harrison with row 2, holding Henry Lieberman and Evan Campbell. Row 3 brings up Tom Adole and Darren By alongside Ron Wolf and Chris Flam. Jake Casey and Scott Fleming, 9th and 10th. With Eric Roddenberg and Kyle Blevins, 11th and 12th. Back to the field, Tyler Carlton and Henry Morris, 13th and 14th. And then it's Justin Hall, Chris Bright, John Combs, Stephen Purcell, Brooks Clayton, Tyler Augustino, Carson Catlin, Matthew Dupuy, Ben Williams, Greg Beckman, Alex King, McKenna Dean, Jason Lee, Sebastian Close, Sean Nolan, David Dean, Ryan Murphy, Aaron Thacker, Ethan Condi, Jordan Babcock, Blake Gamble, Alexander Bueller, Kyle Smith, and Giovanni Romano bring up the field.
So I wonder what the actual track wetness is right now. Do you start here on dry tires? You got to look at the radar there, Nolan? What's it look like? Is it going to rain for a while, or just a little shower?
I would not know. I have not had a chance to look at the radar during our break there, so your guess will be as good as mine as we get set to go into racing action here this afternoon. Should be a fun afternoon. What I'm telling you, though, a lot of drivers that started this race on slicks, all of a sudden, they're making that change on the wets for the start here. Some not feeling so confident. Right now, wet tires include Kasich, Bright, Catlin, Nellen, and David Dean.
Well, there you go. Look at the camera. There's no more rain falling, at least in this part of the racetrack. So it may have been a quick shower. Well, in that camera, there is. So I don't know.
It's the zoom on it. That's all.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit harder to see sometimes. There you go.
There you go. Camera trickery.
Good old camera trickery. You love to see it.
We'll see.
Waiting on the last two drivers to grid on up. I feel like the beer league administrators have given these drivers a little bit of extra time just to get their ducks in a row here with tires. And, well, quite a few runners still starting on slicks. Revs are going to build. And we are go in Miami as the field starting to jump out ahead of this one. Going to be a tight run all the way down to the turn number 1. Jeremy Castro holding on to the lead of this race. Around the outside, though, going Ringo Harrison. Not going to be able to attack him properly into the opening corner. Looking for 3, looking for 4 wide all the way into the opening corner. But it is Jeremy Castro leading the way at the end of the opening sectors of this racetrack.
Gonna be such a sketchy first lap. Where's the grip? Where's the water? How hard do you push it? So a little bit of tiptoeing, but not really a lot. These guys throwing it into the corner. I don't think the track's really wet enough yet for slick tires. You see, there's no rooster tails. There's no, wow, somebody going out there to the slip stuff though. But yeah, it's a little bit of, it seems like a lot of grip on the track. The rain is starting though, so we'll keep an eye on that. Very clean though for the beer league for the first half of the lap here, Nolan.
Well, you got to remember when it comes to tire changes, that is not a quick thing to do in these cars. It's not like an Indy car where you can do it in sub 10 seconds. You know, it takes oftentimes 20, 30 seconds to change tires on these cars, and that is a lot of time you're going to be losing if you have to come down pit road to change on the wet tires only in about 5 minutes or so. If this rain intensifies, it'd be better to run a lap or two on wets on a dry track versus having to waste an entire pit stop coming back down pit road. Oh, a big mess coming down the straight to turn 10.
Oh my goodness. That was terrible. What happened there? That's a lot of cars. It's in the middle of the back straightaway. Obviously, it looks like a few guys may have got ricocheted off the wall back on. A lot of really torn up race cars there. Of course, barely, no damaged cars repair themselves, but still a very big incident there on the back straightaway. We'll probably get another look at that when we can. But Castro's still out front, heading down the back straightaway. Looks like he's going to be in front of Ringo heading into the corner, but you got Todd Badol getting a little peaky there behind Ringo as well. But single file through the top 5.
Close got involved. David Dean got involved. A lot of drivers running out wide. I think a lot of that moisture on the racetrack, because it will still be a bit slippy out there, catching quite a bit of this field out as they make their way through. Castro leads the way, end of lap number 1. Let's take a look back on what went down on that mad scramble down the back straightaway that caused a multi-car crash. And it was just coming together with Aaron Thacker, and I think that's Sebastian close. Nowhere for drivers like David Dean to go. Dean fired across the racetrack, hard into the wall, up into the air was Ryan Murphy.
Man, that was like 3 different crashes right there all at once. That was pretty wild. And unfortunately for a lot of those guys running the back there, just didn't really get a good start of the race. They're going to have to kind of reset and rebuild, move forward, wait for the first code 69 to bring everything back together.
Hard hitting in the wall for Ryan Murphy. Take a ride on board with him. He's going to come in. It's a blind track, right? And just gets clipped and a big lick into the fence for the 0-2.
Yeah, he tried to get out of it, but just like you said, it's a blind racetrack. I mean, those walls, you can't see around them, and it's not really even a straightaway. It's got a lot of wiggles in it. So unfortunately, you come around one of those wiggles and you're kind of, oh, there's a car there. What can you do about it?
Boy, that was a brutal crash. A lot of really thunderous hits for MX5s into the walls. And again, you don't really get a sense of how fast these cars are going still until you go plowing into a wall like that. I mean, these drivers they're not in the fastest cars in the world. There's no disputing that. I mean, these are among the slowest cars on Irish team. They can still pack a punch right aboard David Dean. This is what he saw.
Yeah, where are you going to go there, right? I mean, it's
that wall comes up when you're in a hurry.
It sure does. It sure does. Battle for the lead.
Darren By's
going to, he's going to get the move done on Castro. It looks like he's going to try to bring Ringo Harrison with him, but Castro's going to hold strong. Evan Campbell's in the wall. He's going to nose back onto the track. Yeah, but I don't know what you could do there. He looked like he was kind of stuck in the wall. But even on side by side for the lead, Castro, Darren by. Ringo Harrison's going to make it 3 wide into the corner and then disappear and then come back. Looks like we're all going to survive. Castro's going to drop in for the lead. And actually, Darren By's going to drop in the third. We all survived into the lap.
Madole and Wolf side by side as they make their way through turns 2 and 3. So far, the leaders packed up line astern, but this is exactly what we saw in the opening bouts of this race as well. Alexander Buehler, fast lap of the race so far. The rain continues to pelt down here in Miami. And Chris, if you know Florida weather, that rain can get real intense real quickly if drivers don't keep an eye out.
Absolutely, man. It pours, and it pours hard. So, man, we're not seeing any spray off the wheels or anything. I think the dry tire is the tire to be on, which a lot of these guys are running. Seems like the track still got a lot of grip, but it's just a little drizzle out there. Not enough to do anything super crazy yet. Code 69 windows now open on the track, so you could get a safety car at any point from this point on. It is completely random, though. And now I'm seeing sunlight, shadows on the cars. It's like this is true Florida weather there, Nolan.
Hey, it could be one of those cases where it just sprinkles a little bit and it remains persistent for a while, but it never gets to that changeover point. I was running in a different game. I was running some LMP2 cars from 2005 on a 3-hour endurance race as around goes Kyle Blevins. We were running at Silverstone, and at Silverstone, it was sprinkling at the start, and while the track was moist, the rain was coming down. It never got to the point of a changeover. It sprinkled for about an hour and a half, and then it went away. you never needed wet tires. Sometimes that's just how rainfall goes. Cookie something similar this afternoon. Around goes the 13 to top with Dole. He got tipped around as a concertina effect here. Dupuy caught him. So is Kasich. I believe Ryan Murphy. No, that's the 707 getting collected. Giovanni Romano, last week's winner, involved in this mess. He's turned backwards now.
Oh, this is not good. We've seen this spot come up a few times. Gio's just parked it. No, he's trying to wait for a gap, I think. But yeah, it's a blind corner. It's not the slowest corner that these cars have ever gone to. It's got a little bit of speed to it. You're coming through basically full beans, leaning on the tires. Is somebody there? Is that Kasich going around? It was. That's a new spot. We haven't seen a car go around there yet. I wonder if he had a little bit of help going through there or got on the curbs, but yeah, that hairpin at the end of the back straightaway, turn 17, seems to be a real difficult area for these guys to navigate, especially if just one guy goes around in front of you. There's nowhere to go. They're on the racing line no matter where they kind of kick off to, so it's really unfortunate if you're behind anything like that.
McKenna Dean making his debut this afternoon. The street stock driver started back at the 26th spot. He is up 14. You saw him really leaning on the door there of Justin Hall right behind him. But again, this is a guy, it's around Moore. Trouble at the back as Beckman and Moore go piling around. But, McKenna Dean, you lean at the door of Justin Hall, but this guy races street stocks in the real world. I'm sure he's used to getting beat around the bush once or twice.
Oh, no doubt. A lot of the real drivers that come in here, they tend to do fairly well in sim racing as well. You have that experience as the sun shines brightly now, even though it's still raining. Looking for a rainbow somewhere in the sky there to go with it. But a few guys here I want to call out. Like Todd Madole has had a rough couple laps here. Ronenberg has lost, it seems like he lost quite a few positions here from the start as well. He's running back there with these guys. We saw Giovanni Romano have an incident where he was facing the wrong direction for a while. So handful of these guys not getting the start of this race they need. Of course, it is a long race. Code 69 could reset things at any moment and bring everybody back into the picture. But a few of our favorites here not having a strong start so far.
So the battle's going to continue on this racetrack, and as a result of all that carnage that we saw down at turn 17 about a lap ago, now a two-horse race up front. Darren Bai, the lone driver, right now trying to run down Jeremy Castro to the head of the field.
He's still there. They're still close enough to be fighting each other here. You see a little bit of rain on the windshield here of Darren Bai as he runs through the S's here, 4, 5, 6, 7 complex. Keeping up with Castro, but then you got a little bit of a gap there to Mr. 100 Ron Wolf, and he that's that move I was saying earlier. Do you stick it on the inside? Look at Castro working the back of the car there. I love that corner. I think that corner is so much fun. But yeah, they got a little bit of a gap there to Ron Wolf, then a bigger gap to John Combs. So we're starting to see some groups separate. But Darren Bai again looking at a long run here. He's going to try to go around the outside into turn number 10. Not going to have the move done by the time he gets there. Castro's going to hold on. Is the grip there on the track? It is. They both make the corner and continue to survive another lap.
Into pit road goes McKenna Dean as he has unfortunately gone around. A tough break for the driver, the number 5. Not the start of the race he was hoping to have as the 05 has put himself into the fence. Spun it out on the curve. And he did get a bit of a tip from behind. Curtis Van Morse. And a big T-bone shot with Jordan Babcock.
Yes, it's a tough track. A lot of they just towed from there.
I don't know if he realized that they don't have damage on in this series.
It's a difficult track to recover. If you have an incident, because there's nowhere to go, and the track is so. It's so left, right. There's not really like a safe side of the track to try to recover on, because cars are always crossing the track in both directions. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Darren Bai up the inside of Castro. Castro's not going to concede yet. They're still side by side through the S's. Going to fall back in line. Castro now under threat from Ron Wolf. As Ron Wolf's going to try to stick with it. He's going to go side by side back into 4, but I expect Wolf's going to drop in behind and let Castro take the position. New race leader, Darren Bai.
Darren By driving back towards the front, but now opening up a 0.7 of a second gap. Remember, last time this happened in the sprint, we saw that race leader run away with 3 seconds before long. So Ron Wolf, I get it. He's making his 100th race start this afternoon, but he's got to think big picture here, tuck back in line if he wants to help Castro get up there to Darren By, and by proxy, help get himself to the front of the field. Around goes Brooks Clayton.
Brooks Clayton trying to take the service road to get out of Dodge here. Luckily, he had room to kind of turn around right there. But unfortunately for him, lost a few positions in the meantime. Back up front, Darren By defending from Castro. But now what used to be 2 cars up front because of the battling is now 5 cars. This is why you can't really ever get away if you're battling somebody here. But that's going to keep all these cars in the battle here for the top position. Top 5 all running with each other. Gonna have a nice run down the back straightaway here. You see John Combs take a peek out on Ron Wolf. By the way, I don't see any rain falling now at all. So I mean, maybe the rain's done. I don't know. But Combs going to tuck back in behind. Doesn't quite have the slipstream to get the move. There's the rain again. I think it's that camera trick we talked about before. But still trucking along, and top 5 still running pretty hard here.
10 minutes down. Make that 12 minutes down, 48 to go as the battles continue on. How about this scrap coming into turn 17? That's Morse, Williams, Hall, Lee, Fleming, all under a blanket as they try to fight this one out with each other. King and Harrison exchange places for 6th and 7th.
It's like Henry Morse. Oh, sorry, no.
As we continue to see the draft impacts develop, Ben Williams trying to look for the inside, but Morse caught him off at the apex.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if I was been waved, I would just tuck in right behind Henry Morse, let him take me to the front right now. Just pull me around this racetrack, give me that slipstream. I will follow you anywhere you want to go. Now, he's got to keep moving, though, because he's going to be under attack from Justin Hall and Jason Lee if he doesn't do something. So here's Lee attacking Hall as we speak. Going into turn 4, it's going to be a tough place to get it done. He might try to stick it up even further. It's like Hall's going to give him a little bit of room there. Now he's going to try to get the long left-hander. You got to almost do like a slide job on a dirt track here, Nolan. You got to jump in right here and throw the car up in front. Lee's not quite going to do that. That's going to give Hall the run off the corner into the side of him.
Heads
Lee's
up
around.
here. Oh, that's a blind spot. Look out.
It's a tough spot to recover from.
Not much he can do but sit and wait as drivers scramble. Still going evasive. He's dropped all the way back to 30th now. And he's finally going to get turned around.
It's hard going side by side through turn 8, Nolan. We've seen it end in tragedy so many times. That's another example right there. A couple guys coming together. Again, it reminds me of like Darlington turn 2 at Darlington, where the cars kind of converge back on the bottom of the racetrack. And it's trouble spot tonight for sure.
Aaron Thacker, you saw him run way out wide. Sorry, Carson Catlin run way out wide. As he tries to cut back in line. Remerging with that main straightaway towards turn 17.
Code 69. Code 69 has been called.
That'll be it then. End of lap 8, so they got one more lap to go all the way around.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know what the forecast looks like on the radar, but now you get a free pit stop. It's going to bring all the cars back together as well. Of course, you're not guaranteed any other Code 69s after this, so no more safety cars. As Castro here's under attack from John Combs now. I don't think it's wet enough for the wet tires, but if that radar and that rain is saying it's going to continue to rain harder for longer, I mean, we'll see what people do. It's really early in the race here, Nolan, as well. I mean, if it's a one stop, do you stay out? Or if it's close, do you go ahead and come in now and top off so you're guaranteed a one stop to get to the end from here? I don't know. Interesting early Code 69.
Critically, it's going to be a fast one, because all drivers, bar MacDean, who is in the garage, are still on the lead lap as well. So this is not going to be a long Code 69 either. Ron Wolf has finally attacked Darren By for the lead, and he's going to take that one into turn 10. There goes Castro. Then Combs, King, Flams. Still in lockstep a little ways down the field, trying to battle for track position to put themselves in the best ideal situation before the Code 69 window is enacted proper. It'll be less than 40 minutes to go when racing action resumes as Ron Wolf continues to lead the way. Curious if he's going to come down pit road. Right now, the top 13 all running on slick tires. Only 2 drivers in the top 20 are on wets, those being Bright in 18th.
Oh, no!
And Fleming in 19th, and around goes Darren By. The former race leader is out. Ron Wolf stays out of pit road. He remains on the racetrack, confident he does not want wet tires, and neither does anybody else in the top 5.
Oh, man, a tough break there for Darren By. Just had to get to the line and looped it. As somebody comes in, Bueller's coming in. First car to head to pit road. There's a few more behind us. Augustino's going to come in as well. Now we don't know if they're going for wet tires or fuel at this point, but now the doors are open. Of course, if you pit now, you're getting a free pit stop because now everybody that pits ahead of you, you're going to overtake on the track.
Critically, Romano, the fuel guru, is in.
Yeah,
that
I'm
might
doing
tell
whatever
a story.
Romano does. All the time, do whatever Romano does. So I'm curious if you keep an eye on the tires, what tires people are taking here. It'll give us kind of some insight of where this is going to go. A few cars up on the jacks here. It's like somebody, I think that was Bueller there pulling out first. I don't think he took tires at all. I think he just took fuel and left, if I were to guess.
A lot of drivers remaining on slick tires. Nobody's really making any changes on their tire wear for the time being. Code 69 is now in play. Critically, most of the drivers that pitted outside of the top 20. That makes sense to me, right? Because that's what, for these guys, that's the point of, well, we're this far back. I mean, what do we have to lose?
Yeah, you got to do what the guys in front of you are not doing, right? So you got to play the alternate strategy. It makes total sense. If you're at the back, go and get a free pit stop, get some fresh tires, get some fuel, make sure you can get to the end. So because it's such a split strategy, though, I mean, it tells me that we're close on a bunch of things. We're close on fuel. Maybe they think the guys up front think they can make it a one stop and they're done. Or it tells me the guys in the back maybe thinks the guys up front can't make it on a one stop. So it tells me we're pretty close on that. I don't think we're as close on the tire situation as we thought. But you see a few guys here on wet. Scott Fleming's on wet tires. Chris Bright on wet tires. I don't know, man. It still seems pretty not wet out there so far, but we'll see. It's going now the track's going to get pretty much soaked in. Now the cars are going pretty slow.
Well, while we got this point here under this yellow flag, going to quickly give a shout out, of course, to one of the leagues that is making its return for too much longer here on Green Flag TV. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost time for a brand new season of FTR. Yes, that's right. The FTR Alameda Racing Academy Endurance Series returns on March 21st with multi-class action. The 6-hour endurance schedule will visit iconic tracks such as Spa, Road America, Interlagos, and more for their 6 races. The best news, though, is there is still time for you and your team to sign up today. Scan the QR code on your screen and join the FTR Discord today for more information. Season opener coming on the 21st with the 6 hours of Spa from the Ardennes Forest in Belgium. Going to be quite the run to kick off the championship for these guys, as well as that coming up on Green Flag TV later on this week. The Mystery Race League Castle Glass Company Series takes to the Texas Motor Speedway. Speed will be back for more at Vegas. Zero Tour Race League anticipated to have quite the journey at Homestead Miami Speedway to close out their championship. SRA is back for more at the Brickyard with the Blaze Metals ARCA Series at Las Vegas. Motor City Racing will be headed back to it at Silverstone on Sunday with GTP Element 2 and GT3 action. And then on Monday, the Belgian Sim Racing Federation sees race number 4 at Road America for the Esports Clio Cup. All of this and much more coming up on Green Flag TV throughout the coming days in March. So all of that, Chris, leads us right back here to Miami, where we are under our first of 2 Code 69s on the day. First of possible 2, I should say.
Yeah, it could be up to 2. You never quite know. It's all randomized by the bots that Beer League runs all their things by. It picks the tracks, it picks the fuel load, it picks the time of day, it picks all the things, and that's what makes Beer League so special, is just how random, how chaotic everything can be. So the cautions are controlled by the bot. How many we get are controlled by the bot. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way for guys to relax during the week. Of course, you get points for your finish, points for how many beers you drink along the way. Always a good time. I don't have any indications from race control yet that Code 69 is ending soon. I was assuming this would be a quickie, like you said earlier, as Nolan as well, but it looks like this is extending out. Of course, that's going to help all these guys that are trying to stretch it into a one-stop. It's definitely going to help that.
Well, it's more been extended because we, of course, needed to help the drivers at the tail end of the field catch up as well. So they've just now caught the tail end of the pacing line. They were over a minute behind, so it makes sense why it took them a little bit to catch on up here. So no stress, though, for the field. Final race coming up before too long. It's hard to believe we're already way deep into the series. I mean, we started broadcasting these guys, all the way back season 5, I want to say? It was
somewhere around there.
Yeah, the Mustangs, season number 5, all the way back in August of 2023. Now in our 14th season and already near the end of it. I mean, time just flies.
It really does. I mean, of course, their beer league they run shorter seasons now than they used to, which is great because it keeps the league fresh. You know, new cars, new tracks, new battles, new championships. Of course, Green Flag TV has been there for I mean, almost the entire duration of the series. And I remember when you guys came on, how excited everybody was to have Green Flag TV part of the series. I think it was a great match, and it seemed the chemistry worked really well between the two. And Nolan, I can't imagine any other way now. You got to hear your voice saying "Go, go, go" at the start of the race. And I think that's just what beer league's all about. It's part of the picture, it's part of the excitement. So thanks for man, what, nine seasons now, almost 10. It's great.
It's definitely one of those situations, right, where you've been doing it so long that whenever we have it off with you, it feels weird. It doesn't feel normal. Well, we're getting ourselves lined up, double file. Code 69 will be ending any second now.
Yeah, so up front, you got John Combs and Jeremy Castro going to be your two drivers on the point. Now, of course, the way the Code 69 restarts work, you have, it'll basically release them. It's like a virtual safety car. It'll say, okay, Code 69 is ready to go. And then the leader has discretion of when he wants to start the race, or Nolan, I need your help. Try to help me remember this. Actually, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's either when they get to the line or the bot says go.
It's when the bot both says, it can be a little bit of both. When the bot says go, there is a bit of leeway for the leader to make that final call.
Well, here we go. Let's see what John Combs and I guess Ron Wolf's actually technically the leader at this point, right? Or did he, yeah, I think, well, Combs is up front, so maybe Combs is going to be the one pulling it out here. Let's see.
Coming off of the final corner, anticipating for these guys to go green right before the braking zone in turn 1. It's a common tactic that we've seen the leaders use time and time again with this Code 69 system. Go right as you enter a braking zone, because that means you have the best chance on getting away before these drivers can run you down with what little slipstream they'd be able to get down the straights. There is Ron Wolf out of pit road, showing in the lead. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know what to make of this one here. Ron Wolf is being scored as the race leader. Coming out of turns.
I thought he was. I saw Combs up there, and I was confused for a moment because I thought Ron Wolf was up there. Something
Did
maybe
Wolf
went
jump
wonky
it, maybe?
here. Oh, he got a big jump if that's the case. But I wonder if something wonky with the either with the box. I know there's been an iRacing update recently too, and they changed some UI stuff. So maybe there's something wonky there with the bot and need to get flushed out. But he's back with them now.
There we go.
And they're going. Green flag. Let's go.
Ron Wolf showing that he actually towed to pit road. So interesting news there. Some potential gambles being played under pit road here. Well, we are green, and hey, you mentioned rooster tails. Well, you're starting to get a little bit of them. Oh. And those windshield wipers are picking up, as is the rain. I feel like it may have been a bad call to stay on slicks.
Look at them starting to slide a little bit. You're starting to see a little bit more movement out of these guys, and they're leaning on each other. That's a bad spot to do it. We've seen it so many times. That corner is so tough to go side by side through. But yeah, I think the track's getting a little bit wetter now. So far, it seems like it's okay. We head down the back straightaway to turn number 10.
Headed down the back. Everyone fanning out wide into an extremely critical chicane, and gonna take a nice wide look as the field, see if anybody goes spinning around here. This has been one of the calamity spots all afternoon, but we're gonna get through safe and sound.
Yeah, they made that look pretty easy right there. I mean, I imagine as a driver, you're really trying to feel out where is the grip, how much grip is there. Everybody's still running on the racing line, which tends to get a little more slick in the rain, so it tells me we're not too far from dry conditions at least, but nice battles here for the lead. Ron Wolf up front, John Combs, Castro, and Alex King going side by side for a little bit further back. Ronenberg involved back here, a bunch of guys side by side trying to figure everything out. Are they going to make it through the troublesome turn 17? Looks like everybody survived.
And here comes a whole host of drivers to the pit road, and boy, you can tell right away who made the right and the wrong call. The only driver that has drivers so far that have stayed out, Kyle Blevins, still on slicks, and then everybody on the wets.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys coming in. Of course, we are near halfway of the race, too. I wonder if this is also the fuel stop. You're in your fuel window to make it to the end of the race on the fuel and whatever tires you select here. Oh, no, second code 69.
Oh!
It's coming out. So they're pitting before the code 69. So we got two of them back to back. So this is a pit stop strategy here.
Okay, holy cow, that was quick.
There you go. So that's the moment to dive into the pits. Go ahead and top off the fuel. See if you can make it the rest of the way. Nola, if you can we get the tire graph back? I'm curious if did they switch to wets or are they staying on dries at this point? Because I mean, you saw a little bit of rooster tails, especially through 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Not nearly everybody. A lot of people still on slicks.
Mixed strategy here. A lot of folks still not thinking it's wet enough for the gamble to go to, or not thinking, not thinking it's wet enough to go to the gamble for the wet tires. But Blevins has not pitted. Fleming pitted earlier, I believe, right? So is Kasich the first one that pitted on the recent stop?
On the most recent stops, it would be Aaron Thacker.
Yeah, Thacker. Okay, so everybody stayed out. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
David G and Up have all stayed out.
Well, look at everybody that pitted after Thacker. They're all still in slicks. So I think everybody on wets are the ones that may have pitted earlier, gambling for the rain to come, but then everybody Thacker on down looks like they're still on dry tires. So still a mixed strategy here. If that rain does not continue to fall and make the wet tire the viable tire here, these guys up front, your Chris Brights, your Kasichs, your Scott Flemings, your Liebermans, and they're going to get swallowed up by these guys behind on the slick tire. But if that rain does fall, the race could come back to them if they've got the fuel to make it to the end.
Well, yellow flag is out once again here this afternoon. So we will once again jump back and never mind, we will not. They're doubling up. that was even quicker. Holy cow, less than a lap. And you know what this reminded me of? There was one Long Beach race we did. I forget what season it was on, but the code 69, it was really the full course yellow, right? It came to an end, and they hadn't even made it to the line, and the next one came out.
I remember that race. I remember that.
Well, I think that was also the race where I think there was a third safety car as well.
Yeah.
Where there wasn't meant to be. It was
right.
It was a race of oddities the whole way through, and we're like, all right, no one knows what's going on anymore. We got to roll with it. Just got to roll with it. So here we go. It's going to be ending soon. Everybody looks like they're side by side. I do remember one race with 3 safety cars, and that may have been the same one long time ago. It feels like now. Wow. But here we go. A little bit of rain still falling. I mean, I don't know. Is the track ever going to get wet enough for wet tires? I mean, we'll see. But if I'm someone like I don't know, if I'm someone like Gio at this point, I'm just watching everybody else kind of have chaos in front of me here, and I'm just going to get to the end. Let's go. Well, we're back to it, and that is it now. Half an hour to go, and whatever happens from here happens. Nothing left to slow this race down. Once again, the field fans out to turn number 1. 3x3 wide, Blevins with the lead, and there is the madhouse behind. Where do you even think about going as you come around through turn 1?
My goodness, that was a screenshot right there. All those guys fanning out for turn 1. There's cars around in the back. Is that Madole back there?
Yeah.
Thought I recognized that paint scheme. But yeah, so track doesn't look very wet. Not seeing a lot of spray come off the wheels. So guys with the wet tires are going to be struggling here. You see Fleming there in second. He's starting to get a gaggle behind him as somebody just missed the apex entirely going through 5 right there. This is these corners, man. If you get the apex wrong in 1, it tends to snowball all the way through. It's hard to recover.
No problems yet. Drivers being very well behaved as they make that scramble towards that ever critical turn 13 chicane. Now, hard on the brakes, Jake Casey takes the spot away for Scott Fleming, trying to run down Blevins. And yet again, the melee from behind as everyone is beating doors coming around through turns 10 through 12. And David Dean goes off the road, looking for a little bit of 4 wide in the background here as they come back on track. Darren By gets caught up, and that has caused a huge bit of miscommunication coming around through some of these tighter corners.
Yeah, a lot of cars out of position right now, getting some gaggles of cars on top of each other. Looks like a few cars there just kind of ran through, trying to run over each other to the apex, but starting to see a little more spray off the wheels here. Doesn't still look anything crazy yet, but it's definitely not the fastest we've seen these cars running around. But it's got to be a little bit sketchy for the drivers going into these braking zones, not really knowing how hard they can push. However, so far, I mean, a little bit of incidents here and there. Relatively clean restart here after the second Code 69.
Yes, sir. It's been running clean. It's been running green so far throughout this one. As you see drivers slamming on the binders, trying to just tiptoe their way up and around. Overall, clean opening start to this run, and I don't anticipate drivers having much problems just yet. Oh, well, speak of the devil, around Alex King yet again, and his day goes from bad to worse.
Get passed on both sides there, too. That's tricky to recover, but, you know, I was just thinking as well that there's not much of a difference in the rain tires, at least for performance. I think I saw Kasich was maybe on the rain tire as well, and he's holding about a second behind Blevins, and Scott Fleming's up there. I think mainly you're going to see it seems like the corners are pretty neutral right now between the two tires, but the straightaways, I think the wet tires are going to be a little bit slower, and there's so many long straightaways of this track. There's a couple guys getting off the track here. Somebody drifting out there through the exit of turn 8 as well. But yeah, I was going to say the straightaways are where the guys in the wet tires are really going to struggle because they still have the top speed of the slick tires.
Smashing close. Aaron Thacker and Moore all double file. John Combs in the wings of this fight for position. Overall, a stellar race we've been having this afternoon. And it is hard to deny just the amount of battling that we have seen on this racetrack, and in all the best ways. This race has been absolutely stellar. From behind, Ronenberg, Flams, and Gambrel looking to go 3 wide for 23rd into turn 17.
Good place to get a pass done. Ronenberg's going to make the move look pretty easy there if he can hold on to it coming out of the corner, which he does. And continues to march back up toward the front. Of course, no more Code 69's help from here on out. Just got to survive. Car around coming out of the final corner up there.
That's Wolf. The 100th starter is out and into the wall. He has been collected with Henry Morse.
Oh, what happened there? It's another weird spot to get caught up. Maybe just Morse kind of running a little bit wide, and it turned him into the wall.
He got squeezed.
Was he on the track there?
I think he was. Right on board here again with Henry Morse.
That reminded me of that incident way back in Lime Rock with Cofford and Henry Morse.
Oh,
where he went for a move.
He went 3 wide. Okay, yeah, no. I thought at first that was all wrong for squeezing him, but no, that is on Morse every day of the week. Cannot go off the track to go 3 wide like that when there's a wall closing in on you.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen Henry Morse do that, unfortunately, is now.
Castro.
What's going on here?
Castro and Fleming.
This is awkward. Okay, they got it sorted out. Yeah, so remember Fleming's running the wet tire, so he is, well, that's Flams, actually. We keep getting Flams and Fleming crossed up tonight. But yeah, that was Flams, actually, that time. Did Castro get the back of him here, or was he already?
Nope.
Oh, he caught the Tech Pro.
Yep, that'll do it. Somehow nobody else gets it.
Oh,
hold on. Oh, my goodness. You missed it out of shot, but Matthew Dupuis took a vicious hit into the wall from behind.
He riding on board Dupuis as he goes through the long 678 complex. Just minding his business, doing his own race. He's going to get the curb, Tech Pro, and wall. Oof.
Right behind the incident with Flams and more. In a pit road goes Scott Fleming.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of them rain boots. Not working out. Rain tire never quite came to these guys tonight. Rain just wasn't heavy enough. Track's drying out. Rooster tails are gone. Kyle Blevins needs to pit still, so we know that. And I think the... Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you expect Case and Lieberman to come down for slick tires as well. So in theory, assuming all three drivers still pit, we know two of them have to. Jason Lee could be your net race leader here.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out in my head. Who's actually going to inherit the lead? And I believe Lee and Clayton and these guys are the ones that pitted on the first Code 69. Now, if they're trying to stretch the fuel, I guess they can, because the second one happened so quickly after. They could save during that second one. So can they stretch that tank of fuel, what was it, 40 minutes or something like that? I mean, I guess it's possible, but we'll find out.
At this point, it's going to turn into a dry race slugfest from here to the end with 22 minutes on the clock. Combs, Romano, Harrison, and more all wanting to see if they can go for some mad scrambles here in the closing sections of this race. As you see, off the road goes Combs. Gathers it up. All's well, ends well there. But that will allow Evan Campbell to get a run. Campbell made his 100th race start just last week at Virginia International Raceway, so I feel like that should be mentioned, right? A big congratulations on Campbell. Obviously, we would have mentioned that in the moment how he had a chance. Eric Ronenberg, that huge send down the inside. And in the midst of this is Giovanni Romano after taking his 35th win last week in VIR.
It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive how Romano can continue to pull it out. He doesn't drink. He doesn't get the beer league points. Starts in the back every week. Somehow finds a way to work his way through the field. And it's so impressive that he continues to find a way to do it. You see how challenging it is to get through for folks like Ronenberg, who are obviously very quick in this car. I mean, top 5 in the championship right now. He's racing as hard as he can, and you got people like Romano who just kind of just casually driving through, you know, just not making mistakes. And it's fun to watch. It really is. It's not fun to be in the car racing him when you know he's behind you, but it's fun to watch. Ooh, Ronenberg get a little slide job there in front of Ringo Harrison.
You know, Giovanni Romano had quite about a. Yeah, I don't know if you could call it. It was a road course style photo finish at VIR last week. Not fully. Crawford only got about halfway alongside, but it was only half a second or half a tenth of a second between Romano and Crawford just last week. So I mean, Crawford's been really trying to run that gap down. He wants to see if he can't take over the win or the record for overall wins in beer league history. A record that you would know this longer than I have. Chris. How long has that record for Romano stood? Because it has stood a long time.
Oh, I have to go back and do some stat magic to figure that one out. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, Crawford's got a lot of wins, we know. Romano's got a lot as well. But yeah, he no doubt both those guys are two of the strongest competitors in the history of the beer league. And they both do it with style as well, both starting in the back like we talked about. But Yeah, I got to go see what the stats actually are, how close those two are to each other at this point. But I know Romano's is like he's been doing very well recently in the recent seasons, taking nothing away from Crawford and his success as well. But meanwhile, up front, Kyle Blevins, race leader's finally in the pits. He's got to fuel it up.
Kyle Blevins into pit road. Babcock, Bueller, and Moore all continuing their own little locksteps here. 19 minutes on the clock. As John Combs, Alexander Bueller, and Giovanni Romano will all continue to keep this fight going amongst themselves. Romano, after spinning earlier this race, remember, on just the opening lap of this race, now up to 6th after making a 32-place charge. Jason Lee still continuing to head of this field. Lee, wouldn't this be a story for Jason Lee? Walking the gap out, 3 seconds, hoping, begging that he is good. 110 starts to his name. None of those he has been on the top step of the podium.
That's a very, very. I don't want to curse him. I don't even want to say anything about it right now. I don't want to curse Jason Lee. I wish him the best. We're going to let him be. I'm going to go back to the Crawford Geo stacks. I looked it up for a moment. Yeah, Geo's at 35. Crawford's at 27. That's a lot of wins between those two drivers. You're talking, I mean, what's that, like 62 wins across the two? I mean, that's a lot considering how there's 14 seasons of beer league. So,
well, let's put this here. So, out of all the wins in this series, you could argue those two drivers alone hold over 50% of all wins in beer league history. And there's a lot of different winners in beer league's history.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. Unfortunately, Crawford's not here tonight with us, but Gio is, and he's up to 3rd now as he makes his run. Up to 4th. Apologies, up to 4th as he makes his run toward the front. Next car in front of him is going to be. Oh no, he's up to 3rd. Sorry, the timing tower just slipped on me. So he's got ahead of Babcock there. So Gio now has got to run down the road, get up to John Combs, and then set his sights on Jason Lee. I mean, Gio, it just reminds me like Max Verstappen in F1. He's like the guy you don't want behind you, or you don't want 2 or 3 cars behind you, and you're watching. Is he coming? What's the gap? What's the gap? What's the gap? Because he doesn't make a mistake. He just doesn't make a mistake. So if I'm Jason Lee, man, I'm hoping that 16 minutes goes by really, really, really fast right now, because Gio's coming.
Giovanni Romano continues his charge through the field as John Combs hounds the tail end of him for the number 2 spot. Around has gone Justin Hall towards the tail end of the field. Meanwhile, how about this scrap? 5th on down, Tyler Augustino, Alexander Bueller, Ronenberg, Clayton, Harrison, all packed up in one big drafting fight, trying to see if they can't run down the top 2. But right now, Jordan Babcock actually helping to try to bridge those 2 gaps.
Yeah, Babcock's having a pretty good race tonight. Solid top 5, 15 minutes to go. Augustino's having a good run as well. Bueller's up there. Ronenberg consistently up there in the top 10 again. It's good to see. But yeah, these guys aren't really strung out enough to run away. The slipstream is still strong enough at this distance where they can more or less stay connected. As you're seeing, right now, speaking of being connected, Romano's connected to the back of John Combs down the front straightaway, as he's now got a visual on Jason Lee ahead of him. And again, when you can see your target out the windshield, it just makes that hunt so much better to run down.
So I actually decided, because I got curious here, I did decide to do the math, by the way. What percentage of wins belong exclusively to Romano or Crawford? The exact percentage is 45% of all beer league wins fall into the hands of Crawford and Romano. They combined have won 62 of the 137 races in beer league history to this date.
pretty incredible stat.
And that's only feature wins. That's not
incredible.
counting sprint wins or heat wins or anything.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great stat. That's a great stat. I wonder, I'm also looking at it. Number of wins is one thing. I'm also looking at win percentage, because there's a few guys that just don't have the number of wins because they haven't been here as long. And I'll tell you, there is a driver that has a higher win percentage than Giovanni Romano. He's not in the race tonight, but he is, I believe, your championship leader right now. If I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to confirm that because I don't have that stat in front of me. It is. He is a champion. Ethan Hamlin. Ethan Hamlin, not running tonight, but yeah, he's only got 6 starts, and he's got 2 wins. That's 33%. So he's doing it pretty good for himself too.
Romano, by the way, finishes in the top 5 in 85% of all races he runs. I mean, again, a stat that when you're starting from the back, very hard to achieve. You got to have respect for that, but you got to have respect for as well for a lot of the drivers here that just turn up every week. They just like to fight it out amongst themselves, exactly like what we're seeing here with Justin Hall and Ryan Murphy. Ethan Conde caught in the middle of this. Matthew Please in the middle of this, and they're going to go 3 wide, exiting turn 16 down to 17.
Great battles here on the track, and absolutely a lot of these guys, there's different battles every week in beer league, different battles throughout the field. You tend up racing a lot of the same people every week. You do it for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, build relationships. It's a great place to do it. And honestly, somebody slapping the wall there. I've seen that a few times. It's not like hitting that wall coming out of that corner. Seems to be a pretty fast way to tackle the exit of the corner, but yeah, lots of good racing here. It is fairly clean racing once you get past the fact that everybody's got about 6 beers in them, but it's great. And so far, Giovanni Romano now 1.8 seconds behind Jason Lee. And it's almost like hearing the Jaws music in the background if you're Jason Lee at this point.
Jason Lee's first race in the beer league competition was back on January 3rd, 2023 in the Toyota GR86s. He has been here since season number 3. Since then, through 24, through 25, he has not gotten a single win. He has come close, but he has never, ever been able to finish on top of the beer league run. It has been a tough order. The closest he came was June 4th, 2024. He finished 2nd at Spa in the Toyota GR86, and his only other podium comes from the Roval on March 14th, 2023. So Jason Lee, a driver that has been longing for that first race win. Giovanni Romano, a driver no stranger to victory lane, looking for his 36th. Will Romano be the driver to take that dream of a maiden win away from Jason Lee?
I'll tell you, Romano's going to try. He's there. He's run him down. Took about 5 minutes to get done. Does Lee put up the fight? No, he's just going to open the door.
Man.
Does he give him the bumper going through turn 1? Did he try to hold on to the win? Of course, he's not going to do that. Jason Lee trying to hold on to a top 3 finish here tonight. Romano to point, even after the incident down in turn 17, even after getting turned around backwards, and he's still there.
Oh, boy. Okay. I know why he did it. Driver's passion closing. Sean Nolan couldn't make it on fuel. They're on the same pit strategy as Lee does. He's not going to make it to the end of this race.
Maybe that's one reason why he's getting run down.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. It is. But someone like John Combs, I mean, I think Combs, isn't Combs on the same strategy, Nolan?
No, he's on the same strategy as Romano.
Got it. Okay. Well, there you go. So top 3 after the cycle. How did Ronenberg get up there as well? He was down there in P7 last I saw. So he's moving his way. I guess pit stops. So that's that first bunch of drivers that pitted for the first Code 69 finally come back in for their second stop.
Very quiet run for Romano back out to the field there this time. Not nearly as spectacular as we're used to seeing from him. Jason Lee's first win in the beer league after over 100 starts. He is going to be left waiting just a little bit longer. It's coming, Jason. It's coming. You just gotta find the right strategy, and you'll manage to make your way up there before the end of this one. John Combs again still running out here in front. Combs, a driver that has also been to victory lane twice in his beer league career, both in 2024. Road Atlanta was his first in the GT4s, and then later that same year at the Red Bull Ring at the SCCA Spec Racer 4s, and took that win in a 3-wide photo finish. And ended up taking it anyway off of slowdown penalties for 2 of the drivers in that 3-wide finish. He wasn't even the first driver to make it to the start-finish line. So John Combs, a driver that has not been to victory lane in over a count of the year, what did he like to be the one to beat the best in the league?
Oh, absolutely he would. 100% he would. Got to get past Jason Lee here at first, though. You see Romano kind of get smaller and smaller out the windshield. Got to keep pushing. But speaking of pushing, look at all these guys around. There goes Castro.
Boy! Huge hit into the wall for Jeremy Castro, and the races puffs number 4. Brutal impact into the wall. Greg Beckman sweeps through. Scott Fleming gets through as well.
That was massive. That was massive. Like Castro just got, I mean, probably the biggest hit we've seen all night. It's coming out of the last corner here on the curb.
Fleming hopped the curb.
Oh my gosh. That was a huge hit. It didn't even, I mean, the curb didn't even push them wide. They just kind of ran into each other, unfortunately for both of them. But anyway, John Combs back up front. Got second, got around Jason Lee. He's 2 seconds behind Romano now.
And a big T-bone shot from Matthew Dupuy into the door of Ron Wolf. And yet again, Ron Wolf's 100th race continuing to go sideways, quite literally in this instance.
Yeah, that's a bad spot. It's hard to turn around. Wolf just towed.
They both are. Okay. Man. A lot of stories having unpleasant endings this afternoon.
I mean, you ain't kidding. I mean, it's a difficult. Once you get turned around here, it's so hard to go back the right direction.
It's his own mistake.
Oh, is it Tech Pro? It's Tech Pro.
Oh.
Ron Wolf got the wall coming out of the corner, and that's all she wrote, man.
And there goes Jason Lee. He tried. You got to give him credit. He tried, but it just wasn't enough.
He may be able to salvage a top 10 out of this if he can get it on and off pit road pretty quick with a splash and go, but the rest of these guys, though, are going to drive right on through. So your top 3 now, yeah, Romano, John Combs, Eric Ronenberg. 3 names that have been in beer league a long time, Nolan. And good to see John Combs having a good run. Good to see Ronenberg having a good run here at the end as well. I know the start of this season was pretty difficult for him as he continues his recovery, consistent drive of this series.
Oh, look out!
Somebody
look
in front.
Out! That's Harrison, and he's going to get collected by Alex King again. And Harrison still moving. Going to get the car turned back around, but he is going to lose the top 10.
It's an odd. I wonder if he just had too many drinks at this point. He doesn't seem like he's hitting any of his marks. And that'll happen about this stage of the race. So
6 minutes to go in racing action this afternoon. Tyler Agostino putting in a lot of lifting coast, trying to see if he can't make it to the end of the race. Right now running 6th.
I was going to say, did you hear the lift and coast on Agostino, man, at this point? Oh, yeah. Save. This is a long lap here. That tells me a lot of these guys are close. Nolan, you got your stat sheet there. What strategy is Agostino on compared to our leaders?
Right now, he pitted 3 laps earlier. He pitted under the first one, not the second. The same strategy that so far has not worked out, including for Jason Lee, our former leader.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're committed. If you pit now, you're not coming out until out into the top 20. So lift and coast for days. So
early shifted as well. Don't redline it.
Let's take a listen here. Oh, switch off. That's fine too. But look at this. Jason Lee now under attack. Even after the pit stop, he almost came out in the top 10. He should be good to go, but unfortunately, Ringo Harris is going to try to make a move on him here up the inside, which he will. Man, that's tough. Run up front the whole race, especially near the end. You got a good shot to get to the end. Unfortunately, the strategy game did not work out for you. Now you're running back in P13, losing another spot. That's beer league. It can be heartbreaking, man. It could really it can be heartbreaking after a good run.
Well, they're going to continue to battle this one out from start to finish here. 4 minutes left on the clock and still have fights everywhere around Miami and the Hard Rock Stadium. Oh, into the wall again for Justin Hall, straight to the Tech Pro. Bounces off of it, and he's going to lose the spot as a result to Chris Flams. Could you imagine if those walls were deformable like they are in the real world? How much of a mess that would create every lap? Oh, and Hall's going to get dumped!
That's a bad spot, too.
Oh, my. Big hit into the wall.
Bad spot. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It survived.
Somebody had a massive avoidance going through there. May have been Tom Madole.
Did he even lift? Oh, he lifted up.
Ay, ay, ay.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
By the skin of his teeth got through that. Looking
3
like
minutes
it's
to go. What, couple laps?
Yep, 2 laps to go. Romano working the second to last lap this afternoon.
Look at all the lifting and coasting now. A lot of these fields getting spread out. A lot of these guys running half throttle down the straightaway now, looks like. So not expecting any big shakeups up front. I mean, but look at the gaps are really starting to stretch out. I mean, Ronenberg's 11 seconds now behind the leader. I wonder if he's even doing a little lift and coast at this point. Beer League very intentional about designing the races to be fuel managed. You know, they designed them to where you have to make a decision if it's a one stop or a two stop. It's generally pretty close. So if you do the one stop, especially not near halfway, you really got to be intentional about saving fuel. And we're seeing that now. I'm just watching the gap with Romano Ronenberg just get bigger and bigger between Ronenberg and Romano. So I hope Ronenberg's got enough fuel to make it to the end here.
2 minutes to go. It'll be the last lap this time around, so the lap times are very much known. Only one lap. Oh boy, only 1 lap or so left here in this one as the pack cutting through turns 10, 11, and 12, and everyone trying to battle this one out now. Overall, stellar outing that we are having this afternoon, and still got 1 lap to decide all of these grudge matches.
And it's a long lap too, Nolan. It looks like for the drivers trying to save fuel, it is going to be a shorter lap than a longer lap right at the very end. So it's not going to be another 2 minutes added onto the clock. It's going to look like it's going to end pretty close to on time here. But still difficult. Ronenberg definitely saving fuel at this point. I wonder if he's got enough to get to the end. Nolan, I'm just watching that time just tick down on him. John Combs dropping back a little bit as well. Obviously Romano, I don't know how Romano does it with fuel. I never figured that out. I mean, he pitted at the same time as all these guys, and he's pulling a gap still. It's incredible to watch.
Hey, he's always known how to get it done, and today is going to be no exception, it looks like.
I think Ronenberg's at potential risk of losing a podium here. He's losing so much time. Alex King is right there within a couple seconds now to run him down.
Well, Ronenberg's got about half a lap if he wants to settle this. And so the drivers continue to battle into the final section of the racetrack. Turn 17 awaits. And so we're going to work our way into the final corner, this time by And for Giovanni Romano, win number 36. The record continues to grow as it has week after week. It is back to back for the Canadian in Miami. Third of the season.
Great win for Giovanni Romano tonight. Obviously, masterclass driven beautifully from the back to the front. Managed the fuel properly, managed the tires properly. Honestly, managed the incident he had earlier properly as well. Looks like John Combs is going to finish second. Ronneberg, though, under threat, losing the podium from Alex King here. Coming across the line. Let's see who's going to win out on this.
And it's going to be Eric Ronneberg, who does hold on to that one. Last of the battles coming across the stripe. There you see the 69. Tyler Augustino being pushed across the line. He was out of fuel coming to it. Scott Fleming and Jake Kasich are battling this one out. Matthew Dupuy is stranded. He is out of fuel on the outside of the racetrack. Other fight still yet to come across. There's Justin Hall sputtering across. Dupuy. Ryan Murphy's out. He's going to lose a spot to Chris Bright. Nope, he's going to try to help out Dupuy instead. And that will be the last of the contenders that come across the line.
Oh, no, somebody got turned and getting pushed across the line. We've seen that happen before, but wow, what a race. Actually went by.
Aren't you?
I am very familiar with that myself.
Late models of Magello. I remember it well.
Me too. I try to forget it, but I remember it as well.
Oh, boy. Good run that we had here this afternoon. And I tell you what, a lot of these drivers are going to be having a stellar afternoon. And I'm sure these guys have enjoyed what was a hard-fought race this afternoon. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon from the Miami International Autodrome. Finishing this one up, Romano extends the gap with his points lead once more, as well as John Combs coming home second, Eric Ronneberg third, King in fourth, Bueller back in fifth. Then it's Ben Williams, Tyler Carlton, and Augustino, Lee, and Lieberman for the top 10.
Coming home 11th tonight, it's going to be Ringo Harrison, 12th, Kyle Blevins, Kyle Smith, 13th, Chris Flams, 14th, Darren By, 15th, Todd Madole, 16th, Scott Fleming, 17th, Jake Kasich in 18th, Aaron Thacker in 19th, Stefan Purcell brings it home in 20th.
Back then, 21st through 30th. How about Justin Hall alongside Jordan Babcock, Sebastian Close, Chris Bright, Jeremy Castro, Ryan Murphy, Brooks Clayton, Evan Gambrell, Blake Gambrell, and Greg Beckman.
31st, Henry Morris. 32nd, David Dean. 33rd, Ethan Condi. 34th, Sean Nealon. 35th, Carson Catlin. 36th, Matthew Dupuy. 37th, Ron Wolf. And 38th, Mac Dean.
Tough break for McKenna Dean in his debut this afternoon. Was hoping for more. Not going to materialize the way he was hoping for it here this afternoon. Let's take a rundown. We'll give a chat in with the drivers that finished this race. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 here at the end of the night. And let's kick things off first and foremost with none other than Giovanni Romano taking this one home at the end of the day. It's the Canadian bringing it home, win number 36 of his beer league career. And, well, you go back-to-back, Gio, from VIR. And quite the jump from a track where there's all the runoff in the world to a track where there's absolutely none of it. Talk us through your race here this afternoon.
I think I had probably the worst first half of a beer league race I've had in, definitely one of the worst. I was, I don't know if you caught the spin at the hairpin, which was my fault, and I got stuck facing the wrong way at the last hairpin, so I couldn't rejoin, so I had to sit there for like 30 seconds, let everyone pass, and then we got one caution. I'm like, okay, good, I'm back in it. And then I got spun on that caution and went back to last again. Okay, I'm screwed. And then we got this quickie caution. I'm like, okay, well, if I pit here, I can get to the end. Not completely screwed. And I was one of the few people that did that and had enough fuel to get to the end. And then after that, it was kind of just surviving the very tricky conditions. And I was one of the few people, I think was really the only person on that strategy to make it out alive. So I ended up front. So that was a topsy-turvy race. That's for sure.
You talk about the difficult conditions out there. It was pelting down for over half of the 1 hour main event, but never really got to the point where you needed to make the switch over to wet weather tires. What was the decision to run this thing on slicks? Because several drivers disagreed today.
Well, my experience, I think I've said this before, is if it stays on the light blue rain, it usually never saturates enough where you need wets. So if you can tough it out on the slicks and that rain is scheduled to stop eventually, which it was on the radar, it's usually worth toughing it out. So I just went off that just kind of knowledge, and I think that's definitely the right call. It was pretty close though, especially on that second restart. It was definitely on sort of the line for needing wets. So had there been more rain in the radar, I would have maybe taken wets, but in this case, that wouldn't have made sense.
Well, the record continues to extend with you taking number 36 here this afternoon. Only one race to go, and we'll see if you can lock up the championship next week with one final race on the season.
Yeah, looking forward to it. St. Pete looks like a fun track. I tried it. It was fun, so should be a good race.
Giovanni Romano comes home number 1 this afternoon, and Chris, you've been able to catch up with John Combs.
Yeah, John Combs finishes second tonight. John, I went back and looked. You've got 68 starts in the beer league. This is your 7th podium. Congratulations. Got to feel good on a new track like Miami.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a great time.
Walk us through the event tonight. Looks like you were on the right strategy as far as the fuel goes. Never quite went to the wet tires as nobody was really sure how wet it was going to get, but you ended up in a good spot. Was it all strategy or a little bit of luck involved there as well?
I definitely thought I was doing the right thing, and it panned out. But I started on wets right before the launch, and then I switched back to dries last second, and I'm so glad I did. It would have been bad.
Absolutely. It sounds like you made the right call. I mean, how close was it on fuel there at the end?
Yeah, I had like 0.4 left, and I was worried Ronenberg was gonna slowly reel it in if I just kept saving hard. But I was like, whatever, I'll just keep saving. I don't want to come up short, lose that. But yeah, I just couldn't keep up with Gio once the fuel saving really hit at the end for me.
Well, awesome. Great finish tonight. Anybody you want to thank?
You, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, John. All right, man. Have a great finish. We'll see you again next time, okay?
Yeah, thanks, man. See ya.
All right, let's catch up with our third place finisher, Eric Ronenberg, who's standing by with Nolan.
Hey!
And so, Eric, you come home third this afternoon. It was quite the journey for you throughout this race. You had quite the sprint race, and you end up finishing on the podium here this afternoon. Talk us through your afternoon here this afternoon.
Yeah, that was some fun chaos. I did not expect to be even top 10 with where I was at one point, but then it just kind of, apparently everyone else had the same kind of strategy of messing up and trying to recover.
So overall, this race was one filled with strategy calls, especially with the two Code 69s coming in back-to-back. You were one of the drivers that opted to come in on that second attempt. Did you choose to come down on the first one?
No, I came down only on the second Code 69, the quickie. It was weird. I was debating staying out because I still had fuel, but I figured everyone else in front of me that were fast, so I figured they went in, so I went in too. Peer pressure. We all succumb to it.
Overall, you want to talk about how the final race is going to come down, because, boy, it has been a close championship fight out there, and dare I say, quite a few drivers still have a huge chance to get a run, yourself included.
Oh, I don't even know where I stand. I probably should practice before next weekend, or before next week. That might make a difference. Or drink more. That's always a point.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck then with one race left to go. And Eric, we'll see you next time out for more. One final race left on the season. Go get them.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Overall, a good race here this afternoon for Eric Ronenberg and others here, Chris, as we get set to go to the final race coming up before too much longer.
Yeah, St. Pete, new track again, and another one of these tracks that it looks like a lot of fun to drive. It really does. So season's going to be winding down. I can't wait to see what the guys do next season. I think Miami was a hit. It totally worked out tonight.
Still a lot of racing action left in this championship, and that final race is going to be made very, very, it's going to be evidence of that when we go racing for too much longer. One race to go here in beer league action, but when we go racing next time out on Greenfly TV, it is going to be tomorrow for more action here with the Mystic Racing League and the Castle Glass Company Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Speed's back for more as well in Vegas with the Zero Torque Racing League headed to Homestead. SRA's back for more at the Brickyard. Blaze with Pedals at Vegas. Motor City Racing at Silverstone. And the Belgian Sim Racing Federation returns at Road America on Monday. We'll see you all next week. One race to go to decide a champion. We'll see you there in St. Pete.